Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Before you scroll, before you tap away, pause for just a few seconds. If your phone is in your hand right now, this message might be the one Allah wanted you to hear today, because the hadith you're about to hear has the power to calm a restless heart and wake up a sleeping soul. This hadith is one of the most powerful reminders in Islam, because it places responsibility and hope directly into your heart. When the Prophet said that Allah is as his servant thinks of him, he was teaching us that your relationship with Allah is deeply connected to how you see him. If you think Allah is merciful, you will find mercy. If you think Allah listens, you will feel heard. But if you think Allah is distant, angry, or uninterested, your heart will close. This hadith is not about imagination. It is about expectation. Allah responds to the belief you carry in your heart. Many people unknowingly push Allah away through negative thoughts. They believe their sins are too many, their past too dark, or their chances finished. This hadith destroys that mindset. Allah treats you according to how you expect him to treat you. If you expect forgiveness, Allah forgives. If you expect rejection, your heart closes before mercy reaches it. This hadith teaches that hope is not optional, it is essential. Thinking positively about Allah is an act of worship. Your good opinion of Allah invites goodness into your life. This hadith also explains why some people feel peace even in hardship. They believe Allah is wise, kind, and purposeful, so even when life hurts, their hearts remain calm. On the other hand, someone with ease but a negative view of Allah may feel empty and anxious. Allah is not changed by circumstances, you are. This hadith teaches that changing how you think about Allah can change how you experience life. Trust transforms pain into patience and confusion into acceptance. When you raise your hands in dua, what do you expect? Silence, delay, or response? This hadith teaches that Allah answers according to your expectation. If you believe Allah hears you, your dua carries confidence. If you believe Allah cares, your dua carries sincerity. Allah does not want you to beg with fear, He wants you to ask with trust. This hadith reminds you that your inner belief shapes your connection with Allah more than your words do. This hadith also explains why despair is so dangerous. Despair is a bad opinion of Allah. It assumes Allah will not forgive, will not help, will not change things. But Allah is exactly as you think of Him. When you expect mercy, Allah gives mercy. When you expect guidance, Allah guides. This hadith invites you to rebuild your image of Allah, not based on fear or past mistakes, but on truth. Allah loves to be thought of as merciful, kind, and near. This hadith teaches that your inner dialogue matters more than you realize. What you repeatedly tell yourself about Allah becomes the lens through which you see life. If you keep saying, Allah won't help me, your heart closes to help. If you say, Allah is guiding me even now, your heart becomes calm. Allah responds to the servant who expects goodness because that expectation creates humility, patience, and consistency. This hadith reminds you to correct your thoughts before you complain about outcomes. Change how you think of Allah, and you will notice how your reactions, emotions, and decisions begin to change. This hadith also explains why gratitude attracts more blessings. When you believe Allah is generous, you notice generosity everywhere. Gratitude grows, and Allah increases what you have. A good opinion of Allah makes you thankful even during hardship because you trust there is wisdom behind it. This is why two people can face the same test. One grows closer to Allah while the other grows bitter. The difference is not the test, it is their expectation of Allah. This hadith teaches that optimism rooted in faith is a form of worship that invites divine favor. When you fall into sin, what do you think Allah feels toward you? If you imagine anger only, you delay repentance. If you believe Allah is waiting to forgive, you return quickly. This hadith teaches that speed in repentance depends on your view of Allah. A servant who believes Allah is merciful does not hide from Him. They run to Him. Allah loves this return. Thinking well of Allah after a mistake is not arrogance, it is trust. This hadith removes the shame that keeps people trapped in sin and replaces it with courage to come back. This hadith also shapes how you face uncertainty. When the future feels unclear, Your thoughts about Allah decide whether you panic or stay patient. If you believe Allah plans with wisdom, uncertainty becomes tolerable. If you believe Allah abandons, fear takes over. Allah is as you think of Him means He supports the believer who expects guidance. This belief does not remove challenges, but it removes helplessness. You walk forward knowing that whatever unfolds is under divine care. This confidence quietly strengthens faith in moments when answers are not yet visible. Finally, this hadith teaches responsibility. Allah treats you according to how you think of Him, so you are responsible for guarding your thoughts. Negative assumptions harm your heart before they affect your life. Positive expectations bring patience, effort, and hope. Allah loves to be thought of as merciful, near, and responsive. When you carry this belief, your worship becomes lighter, your dua becomes stronger, and your heart becomes peaceful. This hadith invites you to rebuild your relationship with Allah through trust, because Allah meets you at the level of expectation you bring to Him. This hadith reshapes how you interpret delays. When an answer doesn't come immediately, what do you think? If you think Allah is ignoring you, your heart fills with frustration. But if you believe Allah is preparing something better, patience grows. Allah is as you think of Him means that delay is not denial when your expectation is trust. Many blessings arrive late so they can arrive complete. This hadith teaches you to replace impatience with confidence, knowing that Allah's timing protects you from what you cannot see yet. Your expectations of Allah also affect how you handle guilt. If you think Allah is harsh, guilt turns into despair. If you think Allah is merciful, guilt turns into repentance. This hadith teaches that healthy guilt is a bridge, not a wall. Allah wants you to cross back to Him, not stay trapped in shame. When you believe Allah welcomes your return, repentance becomes sincere and quick. Thinking well of Allah transforms mistakes into turning points. This hadith explains why dua feels powerful for some and heavy for others. When you ask Allah believing He hears you, your heart speaks with honesty. When you doubt, your words feel empty. Allah is as you think of Him means your inner certainty fuels your supplication. Allah loves confident hope, not entitlement but trust. This hadith invites you to ask with certainty that Allah listens, understands, and responds in the best way, even if the response looks different than expected. When facing loss, this hadith becomes a lifeline. If you believe Allah is wise, loss feels painful but meaningful. If you believe Allah is careless, loss feels cruel. Allah is as you think of Him means your belief shapes your healing. This hadith teaches that Allah never takes without wisdom. Loss can protect your future, purify your heart, or redirect your path. Trusting Allah's wisdom helps you grieve without losing faith. This hadith also teaches self-discipline of the mind. Thoughts repeat and repeated thoughts become beliefs. Allah asks you to guard your belief about Him because belief guides behavior. When you think Allah supports effort, you keep trying. When you think Allah forgives, you keep returning. This hadith invites you to train your thoughts to align with Allah's names, merciful, near, responsive, so your life aligns with hope, not fear. Allah is as you think of Him also affects resilience. People with a good opinion of Allah recover faster from hardship. They fall, but they rise. They cry, but they continue. This hadith teaches that optimism rooted in faith is strength. It is not denial of pain, it is belief in purpose. When you expect Allah to carry you through difficulty, you find strength you didn't know you had. This hadith transforms loneliness. When you think Allah is near, loneliness softens. When you think Allah is distant, loneliness deepens. Allah is as you think of Him means companionship is available at any moment through remembrance and dua. Allah's closeness does not require perfect words, only sincerity. Believing Allah is near fills quiet moments with comfort instead of emptiness. Your view of Allah also shapes gratitude. If you believe Allah is generous, you notice blessings more easily. Gratitude multiplies blessings because it keeps the heart open. This hadith teaches that recognizing Allah's generosity invites more generosity. A thankful heart is a hopeful heart. Thinking well of Allah trains you to see mercy even in ordinary moments. This hadith prepares you for trials of faith. Doubts come, pressure comes, criticism comes. If you believe Allah guides sincerely, you seek answers patiently. If you believe Allah abandons, doubts grow. Allah is as you think of Him means guidance follows humility and trust. This belief anchors faith when questions arise. Allah treats you according to expectation, also teaches accountability. You cannot expect mercy while rejecting responsibility. Thinking well of Allah means striving to please Him, trusting that effort is valued. This hadith balances hope with action, belief with practice, so faith remains alive and honest. This hadith deepens worship. Prayer feels lighter when you believe Allah welcomes it. Dhikr feels sweeter when you believe Allah listens. Allah is as you think of Him means worship is a meeting, not a performance. Expecting closeness creates closeness. When you face repeated failure, this hadith protects hope. Expect progress, not perfection. Allah responds to sincerity over speed. Thinking well of Allah keeps you moving forward step by step without quitting on yourself. This hadith also shapes how you treat others. When you believe Allah is merciful with you, you become merciful with people. Mercy spreads mercy. Allah loves hearts that reflect His attributes through kindness and patience. As death approaches for any soul, this hadith becomes comfort. The one who lived expecting mercy meets mercy. Allah deals with servants as they thought of Him. Hope becomes safety at the moment it matters most. So remember this truth. Allah meets you at the level of expectation you bring to Him. Think of Allah as merciful, near, and responsive, and you will find mercy, closeness, and response. Guard your thoughts, rebuild your belief, and return with trust. As long as your heart turns to Allah with hope, Allah will turn to you with more than you imagined. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.